Forecast first. WRBL News 3 First Alert Weather.
Well, we've got some areas of fog this morning. In fact, a dense fog advisory is in effect until 9 a.m. We've got some clouds off to our west slowly moving through. And even though this is showing some light rain, some of it, if not all of it, may not actually be hitting the ground. Right now, we've got temps in the 40s and 50s across the area. And today, we're going to see partly to mostly cloudy skies, right around 73 degrees. Now, this upcoming week, it's not going to be a washout by any means, but there will be definitely more clouds than sun. I'm going to break down those rain chances and wind coming up. You're watching WRBL News 3 Sunday morning.
Straight ahead, the family is in custody and the bond's been set. We have the latest on the family charged in connection to the Oxford High School shooting. Next, we have all the SEC championship recap you could ask for. And if you're a Georgia fan, you might not want to watch it. And the president of Columbus State University sits down with Chuck Williams on the next edition of Sunday Conversations. News 3 Sunday morning starts right now.
On your side, this is News 3 Sunday morning.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 Sunday morning. Thank you for joining us during our new Sunday morning time slot. I'm Carissa D'Agostino. Shoot, don't shoot. It can be the most important decision a law enforcement officer has to make. To better understand that decision, WRBL News 3's Chuck Williams went through a Columbus Police Department simulation, which they used during officer training. And a warning before we show this video. This video includes simulated gunshots and simulated violence. Some viewers may find the images and sounds disturbing.
The question is, what would a reasonable officer do presented with the same circumstances?
For domestic situations, you're going to always be on high guard because emotions are involved.
Yep.
Anytime emotions are involved, things can get out of control quickly.
And that's how the Columbus Police Department's training exercise started. I walked right into a domestic situation.
You and your partner return to the scene of a domestic dispute. From the sounds of voices coming from the rear of the house, it appears the quarrel has escalated to a dangerous level.
Hey guys, what's going on? Sir, guys! I'm going to do it. You can't stop me. I'm going to do it. No, there's no more talking. Stop. No, I will do it. Because I can. I will. You know why.
Don't do it.
Stop! That was obviously not the time to shoot. Am I talking to my partner now?
Yes.
Whoa, okay.
He's down.
Did I hit him?
Oh yeah, you did it.
A reasonable officer who shot him, in your estimation, did that?
I do believe so, yes. And with that gun deviating from his chin as he's turning, I would think it would not be unreasonable to think he was fixing to try to shoot at you.
The next scenario was even worse because it didn't look bad at the start. A woman having a mental episode at a convenience store. Then it went from bad to worse.
Calm down. I can't help you until you help me.
Stay away from me.
Calm down, please.
Shut up.
Whoa, get your hands out of your pockets now.
Stay away
Whoa, that's a knife. We don't need that. Okay, get away, ma'am. Get away from her. Whoa, no, you do not. Oh, great. Okay, ma'am, back away from ma'am. Get away. That didn't end well.
The last scenario was bad from the start and got worse. It was another domestic disturbance. Man stabbed, woman with a knife. It was tense. She fled into the house. Here's what happened next.
Ma'am, drop the knife. Drop the knife now.
You threatened me first. It wasn't my fault.
Drop the knife. Stop.
No. I'm not moving.
Okay, drop the knife and let's stop this now.
Stay.
Okay.
All right, Hoster.
That was not a knife.
No, it wasn't.
Reporting from Columbus, Chuck Williams, WRBL News 3, on your side.
The scenarios you saw on your screen are similar to the scenarios new officers receive in their training. And download our news app and don't forget to turn on the notifications. You don't want to miss important alerts about breaking news. And it's great to have you here with us on News 3. Weather forecaster Brian Thomas has a wake-up forecast to get us rolling this morning.
Thank you, Carissa. Not really a bad start out there. There is a little bit of fog out there this morning, so careful on the roadways. So drive carefully. That fog will burn off and make way for some partly to mostly cloudy skies. Highs mainly in the low 70s for your Sunday.
Thanks, Brian. Turning our eyes now to the fight against COVID-19, the Georgia Department of Public Health has announced the state's first case of the Omicron variant. According to state health officials, a fully vaccinated Georgia resident recently returned home from South Africa. They reportedly stayed in Georgia for 2 days before heading to New Jersey, where they are now in isolation. No additional Omicron cases have been identified in Georgia at this time, but health officials are working closely to identify close contacts. And continuing this coverage, local officials are pushing vaccinated people to get armed with booster shots. Dr. Jane Morgan, the executive director of the COVID task force for Piedmont Healthcare System, says the system is encouraging both unvaccinated people and people who still need a booster to roll up their sleeves and do it now.
But we also have this very larger actually vaccinated population, and we want to continue to make certain that they are protected from the threats of these variants that come into our environment. And so in doing so, we have to make certain that patients and people understand that these boosters are going to be very, very important to make certain that you always have your best armor on.
Dr. Morgan says vaccines aren't the only tool necessary to slow the spread. She still recommends social distancing and mask wearing, especially in large indoor gatherings. And we thank you so much for trusting WRBL News 3 Sunday morning as your favorite source when you wake up. Coming up, Georgia fans everywhere had a tough day yesterday. We have the full breakdown of the SEC championship game when we return. But first, weather forecaster Brian Thomas has a look at your weather.
Going to be dealing with some partly to mostly cloudy skies today after starting the day out with a little bit of fog this morning. Highs in the low 70s. The week ahead, though, not only will we see several chances for rain, it could be some of the best rain or some of the best chances for rain that we've seen in a while. Your first alert forecast is still to come.
News 3 is on your side with Carissa DiAgostino, and weather forecaster Brian Thomas has your first alert forecast. On your side, you're watching WRBL News 3 Sunday morning.
Well, it was a highly anticipated showdown between top-ranked Georgia and third-ranked Alabama for the SEC championship in Atlanta on Saturday, and our News 3 sports team has you covered. Rex Castillo and Jack Patterson break it all down in this morning's Eye on Sports.
Bring it in, everybody, and welcome to Atlanta, Georgia. The site is the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where the Alabama Crimson Tide took down the Georgia Bulldogs 41-24 for back-to-back SEC titles. Pretty much a big surprise, as everyone thought that the dominant Georgia defense could stop the Alabama Crimson Tide's offense, but Bryce Young and those boys came to play. Here's how it all went down. Let's jump to the second quarter. UGA up 3-0. Stetson Bennett, the mailman, delivers a 5-yard touchdown to Darnell Washington and pay dirt. Just like that, the Dogs extend their lead 10-0. But here comes Bama, down 10-0. Bryce Young rears back, and it's a 67-yard touchdown pass to Jamison Williams. They have missed him. Georgia leads 10-7. Later in the second, 10-7 again. Bryce Young, this time a 13-yard dart to John Mechie III, make it 14-10 Bama and hit that pose. Later in the second quarter, 14-10 tied. Will Reichard's 33-yard field goal is pure, so Bama extends their lead to a touchdown, 17-10 over the Dogs. Later in the frame, Stetson Bennett this time shows off his arm, a 32-yard strike to Ladd McConkey, making people miss left and right. We're tied up at 17 apiece. Later on in the frame, though, Young not done. This time an 11-yard touchdown run by himself. The Tide head into halftime, up 24-17. Let's go to the third quarter. Same score. Bryce Young not done, still dealing. A 55-yard touchdown pass to that bad man again, Jamison Williams, to make it 31-17 tied. Stetson Bennett trying to make something happen. Yep, got the first down on this run. Later on, though, his pass intercepted by DeMarco Helms in the red zone. Let's go to the fourth quarter. Stetson Bennett and the Dogs on the move. But this pass is intercepted by Jordan Battle, and he's got reservations for 6, 44 yards away for the pick six. Bama increases their lead 38-17. Dogs not going away, though. Here comes the mailman, an 18-yard touchdown pass to Brock Bowers. What can that man do? So the score, a little more interesting, 38-24 tied. But in the end, Alabama holds on and holds off the formerly undefeated Bulldogs 41-24. Here's head coach Nick Saban and the Tide after the win.
I think what these guys really wanted to sort of gain was more respect. Not just the fact that they were underdogs, because I think we had a tremendous amount of respect for Georgia, their team and what they accomplished. But you guys gave us a lot of really positive rat poison. The rat poison that you usually give us is usually fatal. But the rat poison that you put out there this week was yummy.
So now the Tide have back-to-back SEC titles, and this year looks like they've secured their spot in the college football Final Four. But for a look at the previously undefeated Bulldogs, here's Jack Patterson.
The 2021 season has been a dream year for the Georgia Bulldogs. Ranked number 1 for 8 weeks in the season, the defense playing at historic levels, a 12-0 perfect regular season. Now the SEC championship was supposed to be today, where they could exercise their demons and knock off the Alabama Crimson Tide finally, but instead the Crimson Tide turned Mercedes-Benz Stadium once again into a house of horrors.
Recruit really good players. You know, we moved the ball, and just mental lapses. And when they do that, when you do that, they make you pay.
Tried to trust the coaches, trust the plan and everything. You know, they got great players. They made great plays. We just didn't play our best game today, you know.
Now coming into the SEC championship, the Dogs were considered a shoo-in for the college football playoff. This loss may put things in doubt just a little bit, but head coach Kirby Smart says this loss, if anything, will help his team refocus.
No, what it did is reinvigorated our energy. It recenters you, right? I mean, I think one of their greatest thing is when they lost their game against Texas A&M, they were to garner some focus and some attention. I mean, to me, that's an opportunity for a wake-up call, if anything.
The final college football playoff rankings will come out at noon Eastern time later today. And, of course, we'll have you covered for that coming up on the News 3 Night Watch later tonight. That's going to do it for us here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. For Sports Director Rick Castillo, I'm Jack Patterson, News 3 Sports, on your side.
Now I have to eat my words and give our News 3 reporter and Alabama alumni Kenzie Beach, because somehow her Alabama school pulled it off again. Brian, how tough was that game to watch?
It was tough to watch. I mean, from a Georgia standpoint, first half not too bad, but man, the second half it just kind of fell apart for them. So man, you know, they still got the CFP. Hopefully, you know, we'll find out coming up at 12 noon, like Jack said. But hey, you're looking live right now. Toomer's Corner in Auburn right now, 58 degrees to start out your Sunday. And it looks like more clouds than sun right now. High today should be the low 70s, but rain is on the way in the week ahead. Your first alert forecast is coming up next. And of course, don't forget to download our weather app. And don't forget to turn on those push notifications so you don't miss any important alerts, especially when it comes to severe weather.
your side, weather forecaster Brian Thomas has your first alert forecast.
And waking up with a few areas of fog, kind of like we've had the last couple of mornings, but not too bad out there. A little bit of a dense fog advisory going on until 9 o'clock this morning. It'll eventually burn off. Give us some partly cloudy to mostly cloudy conditions later on for today. Now, we do have some clouds moving in from the west, moving this direction. If you saw on the webcam there from Toomer's Corner, you noticed it was more clouds than sun, whereas here we were more sun than clouds. So we got the clouds moving in a little bit. So that's kind of what we're going to be dealing with today. Some partly to mostly cloudy skies at times. Some of this activity here probably not even hitting the ground. It's a little bit too dry at the surface. Right now, though, 49 degrees here in Columbus and Phoenix City. Auburn, 58, 57 in Opelika, 53 right now in Talbot, down in Eufaula. Looking at 47, Preston 47, and our friends at Fort Benning 46 degrees at this hour. Now we're going to warm up this afternoon. Low 70s, 61 by 11, 69 by 1, and then we're going to top things out about 71 at about 3 o'clock this afternoon. We'll probably set our sights for about 73 for a high today. And a lot of that could depend on how much sun we see too. The more clouds we see might keep those temperatures down just a little bit. Got this stationary front off to our north. Now, if you're heading to the game in Atlanta today, as the Falcons, I think, taking on the Buccaneers at 1 o'clock. You could see some light shower activity up around the Atlanta area, where they're probably going to be mostly cloudy up that direction because they're closer to the front. But down here, more partly to mostly cloudy skies. The showers, it looks like they're going to try and stay mainly north of us for today, which is good news. So we keep the rain out of the way. So if you got any outdoor activities, shouldn't be too bad today. And then on Monday morning, we got the front off to our west and northwest, up toward the Memphis area. It's going to slide in our direction. In fact, by 2 o'clock on the Monday, it's going to be knocking on our door here in East Central Alabama, West Central Georgia. So prepare for some shower activity tomorrow around 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then the front will finally make its way through. It'll kind of clear things out a little bit, but watch what happens Tuesday morning. The front's actually going to lift back northward. It's going to bring the clouds with it. So we're going to stay in the clouds for Tuesday. So keep that in mind, especially if you've got some outdoor work that needs to be done, especially from a yard standpoint. We'll talk about that coming up in just a little bit. But closer look at this front as it makes its way toward our direction. Again, about 2 o'clock, entering our East Central Alabama counties. The good news is it's going to be losing its steam as it makes its way toward our area. And then finally, about 4 o'clock, the main portion of the line is going to be past us. This is actually the physical front. It'll eventually make its way through and kind of help cool us down. Now, checking out your forecast for today. Partly to mostly cloudy, 73 for a high. For tonight, going to drop things down to about, it's actually, we're going to be probably about 55, really, with partly to mostly cloudy skies. And then your 7-day first alert forecast. There's that chance of rain on Monday, but a better chance of rain coming in on Wednesday. We could even hear some rumbles of thunder on Wednesday. So keep that in mind and keep those umbrellas handy this week.
Thanks so much, Brian. And holiday travel is in full swing, and as concerns over the new Omicron variant loom in the distance, the U.S.'s new restrictions and rules for international travelers goes into effect tomorrow morning. CBS's Lilia Luciano is at Hollywood Burbank Airport with more.
In Los Angeles, health officials are stepping it up to stop the spread of COVID, requiring proof of vaccination at many businesses and offering international travelers a free rapid COVID test upon landing at LAX.
I think it's a very good measure, and that's why I did it immediately.
The Omicron variant found in at least a dozen states keeps spreading, but the Delta strain remains dominant, with new infections nationwide rising 36%. Hospitalizations are also increasing. Among the hardest hit states, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Delaware, worrying doctors nationwide.
It's still a large curve going in the wrong direction. I had a patient today die. I recommended the vaccine for him multiple times. And he unfortunately got COVID, was unvaccinated.
Nearly a third of the country has yet to get a single dose as officials brace for a winter surge. In some places, Omicron is spreading twice as fast as other variants, but health officials are urging people not to panic, just to get a booster.
Are you concerned Omicron might impact your holiday travel or your holiday
I don't think so. I mean, I think we're well vaccinated. We just have to negotiate the new hurdles. We're waiting to see what's going to happen in 22.
Well, the Biden administration is requiring a negative COVID test 24 hours before landing to the U.S. for any international traveler. Domestic flyers don't need to test for now. Lilia Luciano, CBS News, Burbank, California.
And we'd love for you to stay connected with us here at News 3. We invite you to like our WRBL3 Facebook page. And we're glad to have you here with us this morning to start your day. The time now is 8:21 Eastern, 7:21 Central. Coming up, the government is staying open, and now President Biden wants the Build Back Better plan on his desk by Christmas. We'll have more when we get back.
Hurt by a big truck? 1-800-CALL-KEN.
One call, that's all.
On your side, you're watching WRBL News 3 Sunday morning.
Welcome back to News 3 Sunday morning, taking a live look at our nation's capital, where the time now is 8:24 Eastern. And in Washington, senators reached a late-night agreement on Friday to avoid a looming government shutdown. The Senate passed a stopgap spending bill that will fund the government through mid-February. And now the focus on Capitol Hill turns to the fight over the president's Build Back Better plan. CBS's Bradley Blackburn reports.
Just one day before the deadline, senators got the job done.
With this agreement, there will be no government shutdown.
Democrats and Republicans passing a short-term funding bill that will keep the government open through February 18th. The late-night vote came just hours after some Republicans tried to derail the bill, threatening a shutdown to fight federal vaccine mandates for workers.
I think shutting down the government is worth the risk to save those jobs in Kansas.
But in the end, the bill passed, and now the Senate turns to the Build Back Better social spending plan. It already passed the House, but Senate Republicans object to the $1.75 trillion cost.
The only way to keep inflation from getting worse would be to kill the reckless tax and spending spree, and we hope that's the ultimate fate for that ill-advised proposal.
I believe we simply can't afford to do nothing and wait and see what happens.
The president wants it on his desk before Christmas, but not all Democrats are on board. West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin and Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema still won't commit.
I won't support any legislation that increases burdens on Arizona or American businesses.
The president is meeting directly with those holdouts, and Democratic leaders say they're confident they will deliver the votes by Christmas. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
And download our news app, and don't forget to turn on the notifications. You don't want to miss important alerts about breaking news. And it's now time for a look at forecast conditions for some yard work this Sunday. Weather forecaster Brian Thomas has more.
Thank you, Carissa. Hey, if you wanted to get some work done outdoors, it's probably best you do it today. For instance, grass cutting, because of the rain chances we got Monday and especially Wednesday. The grass will probably be too wet to try and cut it. So definitely try and do that today. So not a bad day today to get outdoors and do some work, but things more or less kind of go downhill after today.
All right, so get out there and cut your grass. It's important. And we're keeping our eye on a number of big stories for you this morning. Keeping an eye on America, the parents of the Michigan school shooting suspect are now behind bars. A judge imposed a combined $1 million bond hours after the couple was found hiding in a building in Detroit. CBS News correspondent Michael George reports from Michigan.
Jennifer Crumley cried as each of the 4 involuntary manslaughter charges against her and her husband James were read in court. Prosecutors say in the days leading up to the shooting at Oxford High School, the Crumleys bought the gun allegedly used by their son and were warned by school officials that he was looking at ammunition on his phone and writing a violent note. But authorities say the Crumleys did nothing.
And these 2 individuals could have stopped it. And they had every reason to know that he was dangerous, and they gave him a weapon.
Their appearance today follows an intense search by law enforcement. The couple failed to show up for a Friday arraignment. U.S. Marshals announced a bounty of up to $10,000 each. A business owner in Detroit, about 45 miles away, spotted the Crumleys' car and called 911. Police say they were found hiding in a vacant art studio. Their attorneys say they were going to turn themselves in.
They were never fleeing prosecution. I want to make that very clear with the court. They were scared, they were terrified, they were not at home, they were figuring out what to do.
Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard disagrees.
Well, certainly it doesn't appear to be somebody trying to turn themselves in when they're in a warehouse in Detroit. Hiding inside the building.
The Crumleys have pleaded not guilty to all charges. The judge set their bond at $500,000 each. All this comes as a community grieves the loss of 4 young lives. At a vigil Friday, there was a brief panic after someone fainted and people mistakenly thought there was someone with a gun. There were no reports of serious injuries. And the sheriff believes someone let the Crumleys into that art studio. That's being investigated, and that person could potentially face charges including aiding and abetting or obstruction. Michael George, CBS News, Pontiac, Michigan.
And keeping an eye on Georgia, 8 Georgia college students are facing charges following an alleged fraternity hazing situation. Milledgeville police say the incident occurred on November 10th at the Sigma Alpha Epsilon fraternity on South Wayne Street. They say campus police requested they investigate after 1 person went to the hospital with alcohol-related sickness. They are getting warrants out on 8 people for furnishing alcohol to a minor. 1 of the 8 also faces a hazing charge. Under Georgia law, both crimes are misdemeanors that could lead to fines or jail time. Georgia College released a statement saying both the national organization and the college have suspended the fraternity chapter. And remember, when you're away from your TV, you don't want to miss out on WRBL News 3. Watch us streaming live on WRBL.com and in our news app. And we thank you so much for trusting News 3 Sunday morning as your choice for weekend news. Coming up, the president of Columbus State University sits down with Chuck Williams on the next edition of Sunday Conversations. Next, battery-powered cars took over downtown Columbus yesterday. We have the details.
on your side. You're watching WRBL News 3 Sunday morning.
Good morning. Another edition of the Sunday Conversation. Our guest today is the president of Columbus State University, Dr. Chris Markwood. Dr. Markwood, welcome. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, Chuck.
We were talking coming in, and I thought you got here yesterday, but you said it's going on 7 years now. Wow, that's a good little tenure now, right?
It is, and some respects it seems like yesterday, and other respects, particularly the last 18, 19 months, it seems like longer.
That's one of the things I really want to talk about is COVID, but I was noticing you got a little different look. You've come out of COVID with a beard?
Yes, I got a little lazy at the beginning of November, and my wife liked it, so we're going to go with it for a little while.
It's a good look on you, sir.
Thank you.
It's one I can't pull off, and I'm quite envious of those like you that can. Let's talk about COVID. COVID dealt educational institutions, especially public educational institutions, a real gut punch starting in March of 2019. Where are we now?
Well, we've come a long way. We've dealt with, sending everybody home. Never forget that Friday the 13th when those decisions were made to go away for spring break and don't come back.
I was in the bureau on your campus, and it was like, wow.
It was surreal. But then, for that moment, it was going to be for 2 weeks, and then it became longer. I'm here to say that CSU did not just survive this pandemic. I think we're thriving in this pandemic. It's changed our students. It's changed our faculty and staff. But I can tell you, I am so proud of how they have responded, reacted, and cared for each other throughout this entire pandemic.
And it's obvious that your community has rallied around each other. It's real quickly, one of my great COVID memories was, it was in late March, right after it started, downtown had become a ghost town. In the River Center parking garage, there was a lone trombone player. He was playing, and that music was echoing through a almost haunted downtown. It was a CSU kid. And, I went up there and talked to him, and he, was trying to figure out what the next step was going to be. But, we all have our COVID memories, and for a lot of us, it involves faculty and staff and students from your organization.
The creativity that our faculty displayed was incredible. You spoke to the music. We ended up with ensembles practicing in the parking deck. We had art displays out on the Riverwalk. We had classes out in Woodruff Park. It was phenomenal to see faculty turn their curriculum upside down to still try to educate students in this unprecedented time.
And as we walk out of it, crawl out of it, whatever you want to say, as we come out of it, what has this semester taught you? Because this has been a sort of COVID, sort of not COVID semester, right?
Right. I mean, we came back more in person and less just virtual. But we've learned some things. We've learned, that higher education can change, and we can change fast. We don't like the way that change had to happen, but we can change. And faculty have been, and staff as well, incorporating the use of technology. While we used to do Zooms for everything, now rather than drag all of my leadership team just into the conference room for a quick 15-minute meeting, we can dial up a Zoom. So we're going to learn to use technology to save time, to be more efficient, and I think to be more effective.
Zoom's not going anywhere. I mean, that's obvious that one of the inventions of it is just not going anywhere. What are you most proud of when you look at this semester and trying to get back to normal? We got about 8,000 students on campus.
I'm very proud of the way that the faculty and staff and the students have responded to each other. I got to say, people were a little bit anxious, a little bit nervous what it was going to be like in a classroom or in an office situation.
Weren't we all?
I know. And so with encouragement for wearing face coverings, with encouragement to get vaccinated and to remain socially distant, we've done a great job. Our positivity rates have been extremely low, and for that I'm very proud.
This week you celebrated Winterfest. That's a campus celebration. it was normal, but it was a little different.
True. You know, last year we did Winterfest as a drive-through, kind of a nod to Callaway, right?
All of 2020 was a drive-through.
But this year we wanted to come back in person, but still be respectful that this pandemic isn't over. So rather than packing everybody into the center of campus, we had a walking path with multiple stages for music, vendors for food. It was wonderful to see people get out, stay safe, and actually celebrate the beginning of the holiday season.
Well, to you and yours, we wish you the very best holiday. I know you got graduation coming up next week, so a lot's happening at CSU right now, and then y'all get a little bit of a break and come back at it in January, right?
That's correct.
Well, you have been watching another Sunday Conversation. I'm Chuck Williams. I'm a reporter here at WRBL News 3. We hope you come back next week. Our guest has been Dr. Chris Markwood. Dr. Markwood is president, Columbus State University. Have a good rest of the day.
And thank you so much for watching News 3 Sunday morning. Woo! Brian's here with your Sunday event forecast.
Hey, good Sunday morning. There's several outdoor events that are going on today that we want to look at. First, you got the Shine Festival and Christmas Market. It's at the Columbus Botanical Garden from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Expect partly to mostly cloudy skies with temperatures about 54 by 10 a.m. and then rising afterwards. Then there's Fantasy and Lights at Callaway Gardens. Expect partly cloudy skies this evening with temps near 62 by 6 p.m. for that first trolley loading. Then looking at 59 by 7 p.m. and then by 8 p.m. 57 degrees. But always a lot of fun out there at Fantasy and Lights, and of course CallawayGardens.com to purchase tickets for that.
And speaking of events, the streets of downtown were turned into a road race course on Saturday. And it wasn't just any racing, it was battery-powered cars. The F-24 Santa Sprints brought racing teams in from middle schools and high schools all across Georgia and Alabama. These competitors showed off their speed along Front Avenue and Bay Avenue downtown. Middle schooler J.J. Carlisle was a driver for the first place team in his division, but he says the win didn't come without some challenges.
It was hard because a lot of times we were in the back corner down there. It was hard with communication because we had a little bit of issue with it.
The event was backed by Green Power Columbus and run by the Sports Council. And who knows, maybe one day you'll see JJ or any of the other young drivers racing on the big screen for Formula One. And we thank you so much for trusting WRBL News 3 this Sunday morning as your favorite source when you wake up. Coming up, we have our eye on the entertainment world for you after the break.
On your side, you're watching WRBL News 3 Sunday morning.
Welcome back to News 3 Sunday Morning. Let's take a look at some of your top entertainment news this weekend. Starting us off, an update from the Rust movie incident involving Alec Baldwin and a prop gun. CBS News' Omar Villafranca spoke with an armor on the situation following a recent interview where Baldwin claims he never pulled the trigger on the gun. Take a listen.
I feel that someone is responsible for what happened, and I can't say who that is, but I know it's not me.
Alec Baldwin broke down as he talked about how the gun he was holding discharged on the set of his movie Rust, killing 42-year-old cinematographer Helena Hutchins.
She was someone who was loved by everyone who worked with and liked by everyone who worked with and admired.
Director Joel Souza was also injured by the bullet. Baldwin says he didn't pull the trigger of the .45 caliber prop gun while rehearsing the scene, but says he was pulling back the hammer while Hutchins worked on camera angles.
I'm holding that. I'm just showing. I go, how about that? Does that work? Do you see that? Do you see that? She goes, yeah, that's good. I let go of the hammer. Bang, the gun goes. The gun was supposed to be empty. I was told I was handed an empty gun. When she went down, he went down, and he was screaming really loudly. And I thought, but what is he screaming? What happened?
Dutch Merrick is a veteran movie armorer.
I was honestly a little startled when I heard his statement that he hadn't pulled the trigger, but the gun fired. So something tells me that this gun, if it operated the way he says, was not functioning according to the way it was designed.
There's only one question to be resolved, only one. That is, where did the live round come from?
Tonight, a New Mexico district attorney says some of the people who handled the gun on the set may face criminal charges. Omar Villafranca, CBS News, Dallas.
And stick with News 3 on air and online as we continue to push out updates following this case. And to leave off on a lighter note, last night before the Golden State Warriors faced off against the San Antonio Spurs, NBA superstar and three-point leader Steph Curry decided to try some unconventional warm-ups. Check this out. From the stands of the San Francisco Chase Center, Curry does what he does best and sinks a three from way outside of the three-point line. And of course, just for a little bit of flair, he turns around immediately after shooting. Because you know what they say, cool guys don't look at explosions. Now, unfortunately, the shot spree wouldn't continue throughout the night as the Warriors lost to the Spurs 107-112. But that still doesn't take away from this unreal shot. And that's going to be a look at your entertainment news this morning. Your time now is 8:45 Eastern, 7:45 Central. Brian's back with a look ahead at your Sunday forecast weather.
That's great. Well, we're starting out with some areas of fog again this morning, but it will burn off and leave us with partly cloudy skies. Highs this afternoon, low 70s. Now, rain returns on Monday. A look at that first alert forecast is coming up next.
your side, weather forecaster Brian Thomas has your first alert forecast.
And we hope you're having a wonderful start to your Sunday morning so far. Right now we're at 50 degrees here in Columbus and Phoenix City, 48 at Fort Benning, 47 down in Eufaula. Auburn coming in at 58, 57 in Opelika. Talbotton right now 57 degrees. Got a little bit of fog out there this morning. I don't think it's quite as bad as it was yesterday morning. Yesterday morning it was pretty thick, but not quite as bad this morning. Right now got mostly clear skies. We do have a little bit of cloudiness, especially off to our west. Some of that will roll through, and then we'll be left with some partly cloudy skies later on this afternoon. 59 by 11, 69 by 1 o'clock, and then 71 by 3 p.m. We'll top things out about 73 degrees this afternoon with some partly cloudy conditions. Most of the light showers that we see today are going to be off to our north, associated with a stationary front up toward the Atlanta area. So if you're traveling to the game today up at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the Falcons and the Buccaneers could see some light showers as you're traveling to the game or from the game. Got our front coming through tomorrow. That's going to provide us with a chance of some showers and maybe even a rumble of thunder. If we do hear any thunder, it's probably going to be mainly south of us because this line will be losing a bit of strength as it comes our way. Some little light to moderate showers here. Again, we could see some rumbles of thunder mainly south of Columbus, but the bottom line is look for around 2 o'clock for that line to be coming through, and then shortly after that, that front will come through. Now on Tuesday, what happens is the tail end of this front starts to lift back toward the north as you see the clouds retreating back toward the north, and that's going to keep the clouds around for Tuesday, kind of a partly cloudy day, and then the clouds really return on Wednesday with an even better chance of showers, and could definitely hear some rumbles of thunder on Wednesday. Taking a closer look at that line on Monday around noon, entering the Montgomery area, and then eventually around 2 o'clock, getting into our East Alabama counties, and then by 4 o'clock, the majority of that line moving through the front. You can see it's associated back here with this line. There's little showers here, and eventually it will make its way through kind of. No, it's not going to clear us out, so to speak. We're still going to be left with a few clouds, but the bottom line is it is going to cool us off a little bit, and that actually will help us on Wednesday kind of keep our chance for some thunder down just a little bit. Partly cloudy, 73 for today, and then for tonight we're looking at some conditions about 55. But if you're headed to the Atlanta game today, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, looking at mostly cloudy skies, about 60 degrees, kickoff, a slight chance of some showers, winds out of the southeast 5 to 10 miles per hour. So definitely bring an umbrella, even though it is indoors. When you leave, you're going to be walking outdoors, obviously, so you're probably going to need that umbrella. But for tonight, again, 55 degrees, partly to mostly cloudy skies, and then for your 7-day first alert forecast, we're looking at there's that chance of rain on Monday with a front, and then another chance of showers on Wednesday, more scattered, probably more numerous, and even some rumbles of thunder as well for Wednesday. So yeah, definitely got chances of rain, and we're going to probably see more clouds than sun this week.
And still no snow, so I'll be sad about
still no snow.
Thanks so much, Brian. We turn now to California, where 7 World War II veterans prepared to travel to Hawaii for the 80th Remembrance ceremony of the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
The toll of the bell reminds us of the reverence we owe.
It was a heartfelt moment etched in patriotism. As this airport's baggage claim transformed into a stage of honor for 7 World War II veterans about to cross the Pacific and remember those who never made it home.
Means so much, especially at the last years of my life. It's just so important.
Bryce Jordan was a pilot in the U.S. Army Air Corps. At 97, he is one of dozens of World War II veterans making the trip to Hawaii this weekend for the 80th Remembrance ceremony of the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
My wife's cousin was on the Arizona, so he's on that plaque on the ship.
A sacrifice that isn't lost on these veterans, for service was all they knew. And as the members of the greatest generation get smaller in number every year, these men hope their stories will be retold so that younger Americans never forget.
I don't think they're educated in it, is what part of the problem is. A lot of them don't know what led up to World War II and why we were in the war.
Most of them haven't had to serve anything. you know, and I always thought that was one of the best things that happened to me.
These veterans will spend 4 nights and 5 days there on Oahu, not only going to that ceremony on Tuesday, but seeing the sights. They will return here to the John Wayne Airport in Orange County on Wednesday night.
The 80th anniversary is amazing to me.
One more memory, one more moment for a generation that won the war and changed the world, but is losing to time.
Called it the greatest generation. We went from knowing nothing to knowing so much.
Joy Benedict, CBS 2 News.
A truly heartfelt story. And thank you so much for trusting News 3 Sunday morning. Coming up, we have a look at some of the weekend events happening in our area.
On your side, you're watching WRBL News 3 Sunday morning.
Welcome back to News 3 Sunday morning. It's time to take a look at some of the events happening in our area. The first event, you can help send off Miss Georgia 2021 Carson Pennington to the Miss America competition. The send-off event will include a fashion show featuring the top 15 Miss Georgia competitors. With the purchase of a ticket, you also get to enjoy lunch, a raffle, and door prizes. The event is taking place at the Convention and Trade Center in Columbus today at 12:30. The public can purchase tickets at the website you see on your screen. All proceeds benefit the 4-point scholarship fund for the 2022 Miss Georgia Scholarship Competition. And you can watch the Miss America competition via live stream on NBC's Peacock on Thursday, December 16th, starting at 8 p.m.
And the Shine Festival and Holiday Market is going on at the Columbus Botanical Gardens. That's happening today from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The event's going to have arts and crafts. You're going to have story time with Mrs. Claus, pictures with Santa, and you can even stroll through the holiday market. Make sure you visit columbusbotanicalgarden.org/shine for more information and tickets.
And we'd love for you to stay connected with us here at News 3. We invite you to like our WRBL 3 Facebook page. Now, before we go, you're going to want to check out this emergency vehicle. That's lights are so bright, I don't think you'll miss it. Firefighters in Shepherdsville, Kentucky unveiled a new sled for Santa Claus on Wednesday.
Wow.
They decked out a fire truck, like really decked it out. Santa will use the insanely bright fire truck to visit neighborhoods in the area in style. The Zone Tone Fire Protection District says this year the annual tradition is in honor of Chief Rob Orkes, who passed away from COVID-19 in 2020. Truly a really cool story. I don't know how they got that many lights on there.
Yeah, you can make a contest out of that. How many lights are on the truck?
Yeah, literally. If you win, you get to keep the truck. Just kidding.
Sounds like a lot of fun. That's a lot of work, though.
I bet. And we turn to Brian now for a look at your weather before heading out the door.
Well, for today, expect partly to mostly cloudy skies at times with highs in the low 70s. For Monday, we have a front that comes through. It's going to give us a chance for some showers in the afternoon. That front comes through but starts to lift back northward Tuesday. And by Wednesday, we're looking at a very good chance for some showers. And we could even have some rumbles of thunder as well. So for the week, it looks like we're going to see more clouds than sun, with Monday and Wednesday being the wettest, especially Wednesday.
All right, so make sure you pack your umbrellas on Wednesday, everybody.
Definitely.
And we thank you so much for watching News 3 this Sunday morning. We'll see you right back here next weekend. Till then, you can catch continuous news on WRBL.com.